This video tutorial I will explain how to build RESTful web services using Jersey, and also we will see what configuration we have to do to consume the XML and produce the XML by the web service. Here you can see database. In this example, we will use MySQL database. Here you can see Spring Boot demo application, and it exposes REST endpoints for create the employee record, update the employee record, get the employee record, delete the employee record, and get the list of employee records. And here you can see Postman client. Using this, we can consume the RESTful web services which are exposed by Spring Boot demo application. In this example, we will configure REST endpoints to consume the XML and produce the XML. Here you can see employee table, and it has two records. In this example, we are going to build RESTful web services using Jersey. So we have to include the dependency of Jersey in the pom.xml like this. Here you can see Spring Boot demo application with folder structure. Here you can see the pom.xml. Here you can see application.properties file, and here I have defined a driver class name, URL of the database, and username and password of the database. Using this information, the Spring Boot application makes connection to the MySQL database. Here I have defined a class employee, and in this class I have applied entity annotation, and this class has four properties: ID, name, age, and salary. And in ID property I have applied generated value annotation. So this ID value will be automatically generated by Hibernate. Here I have defined a class employees, and it has employees property and getter and setter methods for this property. In this example, we are using JPA. So I have defined interface employee repository, which extends CRUD repository. Here I have defined the interface employee service. It has create employee, update employee, get employees, delete employee, and is employee exist abstract methods. Here I have defined the class employee service symbol, which is service component, and it implements employee service interface and provide implementation of all the abstract methods. Here I have defined the class employee resource, and it has create employee method which accept employee object. This method is responsible for creating employee record in the employee table. And to call this method, we have to send request to this path, and HTTP method should be post, and it consumes XML. Here I have defined a class Jersey config, which extends resource config, and here you can see employee resource, which is Jax RS resource that we have to register as a Jersey resource. Here I have defined a class application, which is Spring Boot application. I am starting Spring Boot application. Spring Boot application is started in 8080 port. Using Postman client, I am going to send employee create request to the Spring Boot application. Here is the URL, and HTTP method should be post, and content type should be application/XML. Click on body. Here we have to select raw, and I am going to send XML. So select XML, and here you can see the employee details in XML format. Click on send. Request reaches here. Here we got the output. Employee is created successfully with the primary key 3. Here you can see one record is created. Here you can see update employee method which accept ID and the employee object. This method is responsible for updating employee record in the employee table based on the given ID. To call this method, we have to send request to /employees and /ID. This is the path parameter, and that path parameter value will be applied to this variable, and the HTTP method should be put, and it consumes XML. Next I am going to send employee update request. ID I am passing as 3. HTTP method should be put, and name I am changing as Arun. Click on send. Request reaches here. Here we got the output. Employee is updated successfully. Click on refresh, and here you can see this employee record is updated. Here you can see the method get employee by ID, and this method accept ID, and this method is responsible for getting employee record from employee table based on the given ID. To call this method, we have to send request to this path /employees, then /ID. Here ID is the path parameter, and the path parameter value will be applied to this variable. And to call this method, we have to use HTTP method as get, and this method produces XML. Next I am going to send employee get request. Here is the URL. ID I am passing as 3, and HTTP method should be get. Click on send. Request reaches here. Here we got the output. Here you can see delete employee method, and this method accept ID, and this method is responsible for deleting employee record from employee table based on the given ID. To call this method, we have to send request to this path /employees and /ID. Here ID is the path parameter. This path parameter value will be assigned to this variable, and to call this method, we have to use HTTP method as delete. Next I am going to send delete employee request, and I am passing ID as 3, and HTTP method should be delete. Click on send. Request reaches here. Here we got the output. Employee is deleted successfully. Click on refresh, and here you can see one employee record is deleted. Again I am sending the delete request. And this time the ID with 3 is not available in the employee table. So it will return employee not found. Here we got the output employee not found. Here you can see get employees method. This method is responsible for getting all employee records from employee table. And to call this method, we have to send request to this path. And HTTP method should be get. And this method produces XML. Next I am going to send request to get all the employee records. This is the URL. HTTP method should be get. Click on send. Request reaches here. Here we got the output. There are two records are there. We got two employee objects in XML format. You can get Java source code link from the description of the video. In mobile, to see the description, click on this icon. It will expand like this, and here you can see the description. It contains Java source code links. Click on these links to get the Java source code.